Let us solve the exercise number 4 in the part B of Advanced Java and JEE Lab. In this exercise, we are supposed to create a Java class called SimpleInterest with the method for calculating simple interest, and have this class as a servant and create a server program and register it in the RMI registry. Then create a client program and invoke this remote method of the servant and do the calculation. The next thing that they have said is accept the inputs at command prompt. So these are the things that we are supposed to do it. So let's go ahead and let's do that thing. I'm going to start the NetBeans here. Okay. And I'm going to create a new project. To create a new project, you just go to the file and then new project. Hit done. I will select the Java with the Maven. You can select any other thing also. And I will select the Java application because we are supposed to create the Java application. Click next and give a file name. You can give any file name, but I'm going to call this as exercise B4 because it is the fourth program in the part B. And I'm going to just finish it off. What the NetBeans will do is NetBeans will create a project for you, and it will create a package. Inside this package, it will create a file with the same name, that is exb4.java. However, I don't need this class because we are supposed to create our own classes. So let me close that thing. Now let's look at what is the program, what is the problem all about. So we are supposed to create a server program in which there is a servant that will compute the simple interest. And we have to have a client program which will invoke this method of simple interest within the servant. Now, in order for this to work properly, we need to have a common interface between both the server and the client. The way in which we can do it is we are going to create a interface in Java. And how do we create an interface? I'm going to go to my project here and I'm going to click on this project. Okay, if the project is not visible, go to the view and go to the window and then say project. So project will be visible. If I just do it here, project will be visible. So under my project, I'm going to select this package here because I'm going to do it inside this package only. So I'm going to right click on this package and I'm going to say new interface. Now, if this interface is not available, go to the others and under this Java, you'll find Java interface. Okay, it is one and the same. Then click next to use it, or if it is directly visible, when you right click, if it is directly visible here, then start using it. And I'm going to call this particular interface because it is an interface. I'm going to start the interface with the letter I to say that it is an interface, and I'm going to call it as a simple interest. Okay, I for first letter that I've used is I for simple interest. So that is it. I'm going to just finish it off. As usual, NetBeans will add a few remark statement which is of no use during the examination. So I'm going to just remove them. Now this particular interface has to be used in a remote settings. So what we are supposed to do is I will extend this out of a remote because this has to be available on a remote machine. So I will say it extends the remote. So remote is available under java.rmi, and if you didn't get it, please watch my previous video wherein I explained the full details about how to create the client server application. Here I'm going to do it slightly quickly. So this remote interface is available under java.rmi. So how did I get this option is I have to press Control and spacebar. Then I will get these options. I will select remote and the java.rmi, press enter, and NetBeans will add the import statement for me. Then within this, I'm going to create a public method. So I'm going to say public. When you calculate the simple interest, you are going to get some fractions. So I will say return value is double. The method that I'm going to use is compute ESI, just to say that compute simple interest. And it takes three parameters. So first one is principal. Second one is PTR, you know very well, time, and third one is rate of interest. Now this is a remote method, and naturally this will, if this method is unsuccessful, it will raise an exception, and that exception will be the remote exception. So I'm going to say that this will this particular method will throw remote exception. So I'm going to say remote exception. So let's say I will type the remote exception. What is this spelling? Exception. Okay, so remote exception. So I'm going to just press enter here. And when I try to do it, the NetBeans may say that there is something wrong in what I have typed here. So the NetBeans may say that let's see why it has not taken that one. So did I type it? It is going to say throws. I reduce the word. So let me start one more time. So I just say throws, and I'm going to say remove exception. So that word throw and throws, you know the difference. You studied it in Java. So it throws remote exception. And what is remote exception? It is available under java.rmi.remote exception. Again, if you didn't get it, I am just typing REMO and control space it. NetBeans will give me the option. I press enter, or you can double click here to activate it. One and the same. Better you do this one, because otherwise you make a spelling mistake and the things will go bad. Okay. The what I have here is I have the server here, I have the client here, and I have this interface which is common among them. Now this interface has to be implemented, so the calculation has to be done, and this calculation will be done by a servant, and the name of the servant is SimpleInterest. So I'm going to create a class called as SimpleInterest, and I'm going to use this one. How do I create the class? Is I will have to go to my projects. So you can click on this project. If it is not visible, go to the window and project, and click on the package name. So this is your package name. Right click and say new Java class. Again, if the Java class is not visible, go to the other, and within the other select the another category Java, and then say Java class. In any case, you will reach up to here. Here you give the class name as SimpleInterest. So this is the name, SimpleInterest. Click finish, and that class is created. As usual, NetBeans will create a few remark statement which is not required during the examination, so I'm going to remove them. Now this particular object that I am creating is has to be used in a remote location. That means to say that it has to act as a remote object. How can I do that thing? Is this is an ordinary class. I have to extend this class so that it can be used as a remote object. How do I do that? Is I'm going to say this extends, okay, unicast. So I'm going to say unicast remote object. Again, I pressed control space, and the NetBeans will do the needful things of putting the import statement as well as completing this part. So it extends uh, the remote object so that it can be used. Apart from that, this particular class also has to implement the SimpleInterest interface. So I'm going to say this implements the SimpleInterest. I is the interface name. This is the name I'm going to use it. So this is the name I'm going to use it. And I'm going to say simple interest. So this is done here. Now I'm going to create a constructor for this one. So how do I create the constructor? You know very well. You just say public, and so just say public. It's not really required, public. And the name of the class, is simple interest. Okay, so this hope that name is proper, and then you are going to use this. Okay, and I'm going to call the super method. However, whenever you create the object of a type remote object, it will throw an exception because it may be possible that that object cannot be created. In that case, it is going to throw an exception. So I'm going to say that this particular constructor throws the remote exception. Now again, if you are finding it a bit difficult to understand, please watch the other video. In that other video, I have talked in length about how it can be done. So that is the previous video for calculating the what is that interest, that is the income tax, not the interest, the income tax. That there I have explained in detail. So here I'm going to just quickly say, so you just create a constructor, and this constructor will throw the remote exception. Apart from this, because it is implementing the simple interest, it will have to write the body, or it has to, we have to write the definition of that method. I'm going to use, remember, I'm going to type it. I'm going to use the bulb here, which is available over here. I'm going to click on this bulb and say implement all the methods. So I'm going to just click on this bulb and say implement all the abstract method. When I do it, NetBeans will take the signature of this particular interface along with the proper spelling, and it will do the needful thing. I don't need an exception because NetBeans don't know how to implement it. It will just throw an exception. This is the boilerplate code that is added by the NetBeans. So you will have to remove this line. So how do you do that is click here on that line and click here. Don't leave the mouse. Drag downwards and drag back so that this bracket is not selected. Press the backspace or delete, and there you have your that particular throws exception that was added by the NetBeans has been deleted. Now, how do you calculate the simple interest? You know very well, simple interest is nothing but a PTR by 100. So I'm going to return the P into T into R, where is it? Star P into T into R divided by 100. So I'm going to return this value. So this is P in small case, sorry. P into T into R. PTR by 100 is the, you know very well, is the, what is that? Our simple interest. So you have able to create the servant. So I have created the servant here. So I have created the servant. Let me create the server and place this servant inside that server. How to create a server is I need to create one more class, and remember the server has to run. And when you say the server has to run, there must be, very important thing, there must be a static void main method inside the server which can be executed. So let's go back to the project again. If the project is not visible here, go to the window and then say project. Go to the project and go click on this package. And within this package, right click and say new, and then you say Java class. So right click here on the package, new Java class. Again, if the Java class is not there, go to the other and then select Java and then select Java class. So if it is not visible during the examination, if it is not there, you come to, this is a longer way of doing it. If you right click here and then directly select under new, if you select the Java class, it is the shortcut. Okay, let me call this a particular class as what is simple interest. SI is the simple interest server, SI server. So this is SI for simple interest server. Okay, so that is the name. Let me finish it off. And as usual, the NetBeans will add a few lines of remark statement, which is not required during the examination. So I'm going to just remove them. Under this class, I need a public static void method. How do I do that? I'm going to say public static void main. So PSVM, then press tab. NetBeans will create the boilerplate code for you. So in this public static void main, what is the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a object of type simple interest. So in the server must have the servant. So let's create the object of type servant. How do I do that thing? Name of my servant class is simple interest. So I'm going to say simple interest si is equal to new simple interest. So that is done. Now you know very well, if at all you are if you are calling the constructor of this particular class, it is going to throw a remote exception. Now I will not write the throws remote exception here, because I know that exception, this exception is the mother of all the remote exception, or exception is the mother of all exception. I am going to use so I'm going to say here it throws exception. Remember, I will not give a specific exception like throws remote exception or not bound exception and other things. I will just say it throws exception. That's it. So that will reduce uh, writing during the examination. So I created the object of this type. Now first thing I have to do is I have to place this thing as told in the question. You have to register it in the Java RMI registry. So for that we have to first locate the registry. So I'm going to say registry. First we, in order to place something in the registry, we are supposed to locate the registry, and registry is available under the package java.rmi.registry. I will call this one as rg. What I've done is I pressed enter there. So if you press enter, automatically NetBeans will add the needful things. After selecting, you have to press enter. So I will go to the registry. First of all, I have to locate the registry. So I'm going to say locate registry. Again, I pressed control space. Control and space bar together. If you space, NetBeans will add the needful things for you. So the locate registry, and then I'm going to say make a new entry for this particular servant. So I'm going to say create the registry at a particular port number. So let me give the port number as 32323. Okay, so let me give this thing so that it is easier. Remember, always give the port number greater than 20,000. For brevity, it is not really required that you have to do it, but to avoid confusion with the other existing port, so I'm going to say this is 32323. Okay, so done with the port. So I've created this particular port, and let's go. I assume that that port is not being used. So this is the thing. And after this, so if I'm successful, I will be able to locate the registry. So that is done. Once I locate the registry, I have to bind this one. That is what is told in the question. Bind this to the registry. So how do I do that thing is I'm going to say rg is my registry. So rg is my registry. Then I'm going to say bind. First thing, you give some name for this one. For brevity, I will just call this one as a simple interest si. So very short form. So simple interest si. What is the object is si. Remember, if you get confused, so this is the object si, and this is the name. So if you are getting confused, I'm going to say simple interest. Okay, so this is the name. You can give any name here. So Ramesh, Suresh, anything name you can give it, but this object must be the servant. So that is done. So if this is successful, you are able to register it to the registry, then everything is done. I'm going to just give yes out method just to say that the server has started, so that I know that something has happened. So everything is successful. So I'm going to say server has started. So dot dot dot, just to say that my server is running. So if without exception, if I cross this line, so up to this line, if I cross this, that means I am able to locate the registry, and I'm able to put this object which was created here into the registry. So that if that is done, it is all good. Let me just cross verify, and I'm going to right click on this particular empty place within this class, and I'm going to just run it because there is static void main. I can directly run this one. So when I run it, if everything is successful, I must get this line. If I reach up to here, that means it is all done. So let's look at the input there. And if everything is successful, I will get this word server started successfully. And if I reach up to this point, that is what I told you. If I reach up to this point, that means server is running. Very important thing, close this server because it is not the time to run the server. So close it by clicking on this button here, or you can also close it by clicking on the X mark which is located here. So option is yours. I am going to close it with this one. Again, if this output itself is not visible, what to do? Go to the window, and within this window you get the option for output. So this, when you click on it, you will see this output here. Let me close this server. So the server is closed. Again, if you want a detailed explanation about this whole thing, watch my previous video in which I have explained in detail about why these things are being created. Now here I'm going to quickly complete the part because it will be a repetition of what I have told in the previous exercise. But that exercise is for something else, that is the income tax calculation. But the steps remain same. So now what we have as of now is we have the server and the servant. There is a common interface. Now the last part left over is the client. So let's create the client. Again, client has to run. So there must be static void main method in the client. I'm going to click on the project. Again, if the project is not visible, go to the window and project. Just click on this package name here, right click on it and then say new, and I'm going to say Java class. Again, if the class is not visible here, Java class is not visible, go to the other, select Java and class. So let me directly click on this one. So you have the Java class here. Give it a name, and I'm going to call this one as a SI for simple interest, and I'm going to call it as a SI client because it's a client program. Let me click on finish to finish it off. As usual, NetBeans will add a few lines of remark statement which are not required during the examination. So I'm going to just remove them. Now this client has to run. So there must be static void main method. So I'm going to say static public static void main and then press tab. NetBeans will add the proper method for you. In this method thing, what are the things that I am supposed to do? So this client, there is a server here which has a servant, and there is this client, and there is this common interface. So client has to first locate the server. So how to locate the server? Search in the registry. So there is a RMI registry. Search in the registry and get the object. So let's first go to the registry. How to go to the registry? I'm going to say registry. So I press this registry, and it is in java.rmi.registry. I press enter. After selecting this, I press enter, or you can double click on it, one and the same. So it is going to add the import statement. I will call this one as rg equal to, it is not creating new registry, you have to locate the registry. So I'm going to say locate and re and control and space bar. That means we'll do the needful things. It will add the import statement as well as complete this word, and in that now I have to not to create because it is already created. Remember, creation part is for the server will create the entry, client will use this entry. So what is the meaning of saying class client will use this entry? Client will get the entry that was created by the server. However, the client must know the port number where this is running. So what is my port number? Is I will go to the server here. So the server here, and within the server, I am going to select this port number. By mistake, if you have closed this thing here, you can go to the project and then double click on the server or anything. Double click on here. Double click on the picture, not on the text. So always remember that. So let me go back to the client, and the port number that I'm working on is 32323. This is the port number at which the server was using. Then that is the port number I'm going to use it. As usual, whenever you try to get the location, generally there will be a remote exception that is created, and you may get many exception. I'm going to use the mother of all the exception instead of writing the individual remote exception and so on and so forth. I'm going to say the main method will throws the exception. So exception is the mother of all. So this is done. Otherwise you have to add the proper import statement. So just to say it throws the exception. That is done. I got the registry there. Now from the registry, remember in the server what you have done is you located the registry at the particular location, and then you have bound the simple interest object here. So it is there in the registry. Now the client has to get this reference. So how does the client get the reference? You know very well what is common thing between the server and the client is that interface. So this interface that you have created, simple interest interface, this is the common thing between two of them. So I will use that common link. What is the common link? I simple interest. Why I? Because I is an interface. This interface I'm going to use it. I simple interest. Okay, I'm going to call this one as a yes sign, and I will go to the registry RG, and I'm going to say lookup for this name. What is the name that I have given is within in the server. If you go to the server here, in the server I gave the name as simple interest. I'm going to select this Control C to copy it, and I'm going to paste it. Remember this whatever you are using in Java are case sensitive, so be careful with the cases that you are using. That is why in order to avoid all the unnecessary problem, I'll select this Control C to copy it and Control V to paste it here. Now when you try to get to this one, the lookup will return a remote object, but what is there on the other side is an interface. So you have to typecast this remote object that is written by the lookup into the other one, and the NetBeans will do the needful things. If you don't get it, just click on the bulb here and you say typecast it. So just click on typecast and NetBeans will do the typecasting for you. Otherwise, you can also manually type it. So now what is happening is lookup will return a remote object. This remote object is typecast as iSimpleInterest and given to the iSimpleInterest. So that is being done. So you have done that thing. Now what is the thing you are doing is, now what you have here is there is a server here, and there is a servant here, and there is a client here. Client is able to locate to the server, and there is a common interface. Using this, the client will send a PTR value to the server, that is the servant. The servant will do the calculation and return the simple interest back to the server. So back to the client. So I must know what is the value of PTR. Who is going to give the value of PTR is the user. So in order to get something from the keyboard, I am going to use the scanner class. So I'm going to say SCNN and control space it, and that means we'll do the import statement for the scanner. And I'm going to say in is equal to how to get the scanner. I'm going to say new scanner, a new scanner, and I will use the system, and I'm going to say input. So that input stream I'm going to use it. So this is for the scanner. Now we need the value of p comma t comma r to get the value. So now I'm going to use the yes out, and I'm going to just to make the things appear beautifully. I'm going to say dash 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 simple interest, and I'm going to say this one and just dash dash dash, and after this I'm going to say enter the value of a principal. So I'm going to say yes out, and I'm pressing the tab here. I type this yes out here, and I press tab. The NetBeans will fill the once you press the tab, NetBeans will automatically fill the value. Now I'm not interested in the ln because I want it to come in the same line. So I don't want it to go to the next line. So line break is not required. So I remove this ln, and I'm going to say the principal amount. So principal. I think principal is this. I think spelling. I don't know. I'm not good in English, so whatever is the principle. Okay, and then get the value of p. So in dot get I'm sorry, next double. So I got this one. In the same way, I'm going to get the value for time and a rate of interest. So I will select these two lines. So you can just select this two line, Control C to copy it, come down and Control V to paste it. The second one is time. So I'm going to say time, and return value is t. So for the time, again Control V to paste it. The last one is a rate of interest. I'm going to just say rate, and I'm going to say rate. Okay, done. And this will be rate. Now I'm going to give the output. Okay, so how do you give the output? Yes, out, and I'm going to say simple interest. Okay. And how to calculate the simple interest? I'm going to concatenate it using plus, and I'm going to say SI is my object. Remember, SI is my object. SI dot, and I'm going to say compute simple interest. I will select this one. You can double click here or press enter, one and the same. That means we'll add the p value, and r value for you. You don't need to do anything. With that, things are done with the output. So this is what they have done. Let me save it. Control S to save it, or you can click on here to save this one. Now run the server part first and then the client part. So I'm going to go to the server here. So click on the server here, right click on the empty area, and then run it. Okay. Remember, this is the command prompt that you can see over here. It is a command prompt that it is running. So here in the question, they have said that get the, where is this? Accept the input from the command prompt. This is the command prompt. However, that command prompt is coming inside the NetBeans. So that's a different thing. Okay. You get the command prompt inside the NetBeans itself. It is a command prompt that is being shown by the NetBeans in its own way. It is showing. So my server is running. So that means first part is completed. Let's go to the client. So client part here. And I'm going to right click on the client part and then say run this client part. When the client is running, I'm going to supply the values of PTR. So the client is running there, and you notice that this is the command prompt that is coming over here. So if you have 100 rupees with you as the principal amount, that principal or other that I have some confusion, and the time is 1 year and the rate of interest is 10%. What will be the simple interest? So I press enter. The simple interest is 10% because it is for one period of one. Simple interest will be the same thing. So that is what we are supposed to do it. If you want, you can again run the client and type something different. So this is one and the same. However, you must very important thing is do not try to run the server again and again, because if the server is running again and again, it will use the same port number, that is 3232. This port number is already locked by first program. Second program will break it. Okay, so you will get an exception. So don't try to do it. Again, if the output is not visible, go to the window and then say output. It will come here. Go to the client part here and type the simple interest. So let me type the simple interest. If you have 1000 rupees with you, let's say if you have 1000 rupees with you, and if your time is for 2 months or 2 years, whatever you say, and if you are the rate of interest is 10, then the simple interest is 200 rupees. So that is being done. So this is the end of the program, but very critically important thing. When you quit this one, stop the server. Remember, if there is any exception, stop the server by clicking on this one. Don't simply right click and start running the server. First, stop this server. That is critically important. You go to the output here. Output is not visible. Go here and then search for the output and stop the server by clicking here or by clicking here. You can notice the server story written here. It is the SI server. That is the name of the class that is running. Stop this one and then run it. Don't run the server again and again. If it is running once, stop it and then run it. So that's all in this simple exercise. We will meet again in the other exercise. Thank you for your interest.